How's it going, all you sexy crew members? We here with another reaction. This is Three Corner Store Horror Stories Animated, made by Dark Ace Animation. Go show them some love. The video description. The video will be in the description if I remember to put it though. And not remind me. Follow me on IG. Give me some other stuff to watch. The Great Story. The Great Yagi. Let's get straight into shit, right? Yeet. I'm not turning off the lights. I was gonna say turn off the lights. Y'all turn off y'all lights. I'm not turning off my lights. Then you won't be able to see me. Yeah, you won't be able to see me myself.
My name is Gerald and I'm 22. For the past year, I've encountered a buttload of crazy people and have accumulated even more crazy stories. While most of them would make you laugh, the one I've chosen to share was terrifying while it was happening and still gives me shivers when I remember it. A little more than a year ago, I applied for and got a job at my favorite convenience store across the street from my house.
Don't do that. Don't work for your
I
favorite
moved there
place.
my sophomore year in college and decided to stay after I left school. This little store has served as a savior to me. Living as young men often do, I had very little money, but I was always confident I could find something to fill my belly regardless of how much was in my pocket at the time.
But with
So,
them chucks
when
on?
the time came, I was no longer able to rely on my parents for money. The corner store was the first place I went for a job. I was in luck. Only the day before, one of the employees was fired for stealing from the register.
Mm,
I took his place.
that's
And
tough.
I've been here ever since. Like any other corner store, we sell alcohol. Beer, wine, liquor, the whole boat.
See that Genesis up
Naturally,
there?
this makes us a beacon for the local drunks.
Bro, over here, grocery store? Bro, I want to tell you how amazed I was when I had picked up a bottle of Genesis, shook it, and it got like a little ball, like how spray cans, you shake them up and go kick, 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 kick. Bro, I had shook the bottle up. No, it was a can. I had shook it up, and I heard it rattling. I was so amazed by that for some odd reason. It don't take a lot to get me amazed. That's what's one of the things that got me amazed.
These folks have served as countless hours of entertainment. While most are harmless people, on one specific occasion, a horribly violent outburst occurred. It was a quiet Saturday night, about an hour before close. Most of the regulars had made their appearances, a few more than once. The two involved in this incident had been in around 7
Oh,
p.m.
I'm getting scared. Let me grab the let me grab the blicky. Let me grab the blicky. Let me let me yeah, let me grab. Gotta grab the blicky. Somebody come through that door. They getting shot. That's on game. That's on game. That's on game. That's on game. Don't ask where we at. Wait, fuck. Don't ask why we got firing objects on the floor. Don't ask. It's on game. It's on game.
Had just returned. They were, or at least appeared to be a couple. I'd seen them around the neighborhood since I moved in. The
Oh,
owner
she
of the
kind of
store
bad.
said they'd been
Ooh.
customers since he bought the store, almost 13 years ago. Although they were not very talkative when they came in, I never had any reason to believe either could be violent. However, that night something had changed. Upon arriving the second time, they went straight to the cooler containing the quart and 40-ounce size beers. Nothing out of the ordinary, as I said, but Tonight, an argument between the two started soon after their arrival. Initially, I couldn't hear what it was about, but soon I could hear everything they said across the store. I minded my own business for a while, but
Why you
once
look
the
so
female
mad?
began screaming
That boy look
curse
like
words at
you
the
about to.
man,
Ooh.
I felt like I had to at least get them to take it outside. I wasn't sure what to say, but
I
I
wouldn't
knew
say
I
a
wanted to
damn
the
thing.
opposite side of the small store. Before I was halfway there, the man started screaming back at the woman. I'm not sure exactly what she had said to him, but it had obviously infuriated him.
That boy
Mere
look like
moments
he
before,
loaded.
he had taken a quart bottle of Bush or some other cheap beer from the cooler. All of a sudden, he began striking down at the woman's head with it. I'm not sure if he thought it would break or if he intended on hurting her with the nearest thing, but strike after
Why
strike
do those
kept coming.
swings look like he got no
It
power
was a
whatsoever?
horrifying thing to witness. I blame the entertainment industry for giving people the false impression of how easy it is to break a beer bottle
Yes,
with someone's
those
hand.
things are hard. Bro, at the grocery store I usually go to, same one. Bro, I had dropped so many wine bottles, and I'm talking about like from yee, yee. I'm 5'6", and I reached and it fell, hit the ground. Shit did not break, did not break. I'm like, what the hell? Them things sturdy, them things sturdy, bro. You can't just whack somebody upside the head and thinking it gonna break. That shit ain't gonna break, B. That shit ain't gonna break.
Assure you, it's very hard. Following the fifth or sixth strike, the woman had dropped completely to the floor and stopped moving. The guy stood over her for a moment, but looked up, and I assumed he heard me running towards him. The second he saw me, he ran out the side door and disappeared into the darkness. The sight of her laying there made me sick to my stomach. The blood dripping from her
Cough
ears
it
was
up,
almost
nigga.
as shocking as the ever-growing pool around her head. It seemed like a bad idea to touch her, so I made a decision to let the paramedics check her for a pulse.
This boy got
When
that
they
Samsung.
arrived, she was still alive, but they didn't have much hope for her survival. The cops certainly weren't in any hurry to get there, but when they did finally arrive, 45 minutes later, I filled in them on all I had seen.
Damn,
They
is y'all in the
reacted
middle of,
really strong.
like, is y'all in the middle of nowhere or what? What's it, 45 minutes? 45? Either y'all police is ass, or, no, it's like three reasons. You didn't told them something, told them the right things to get them hurry up, police's ass, or y'all in the middle of nowhere. Like, goddamn, 45 minutes?
Feeling that they were very familiar with the two. While on shift, a few days later, my boss called with some news. The female was brain dead, and her family had made the choice to let it pass.
Damn.
The cops had picked the guy up the following night. From the description my boss gave me, he didn't even seem to remember what had happened.
He was
The
loaded.
doctors that examined him said that it's likely he truly may not remember what he did, because of the many years of alcohol abuse that possibly destroyed his brain. Sounds like he might not get the full punishment due to him under the law. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. Sometimes it seems like people really do get away with murder.
Who's you? Maria, what you say you wanna be with a nigga? Young nigga.
Starting as a wide-eyed 23-year-old girl, I worked my way up to
Shit,
19
23,
for
but I'm
5 years.
19. We probably can't go to the club or nothing, but I can give me a fake ID.
My job includes staying late after closing to count the night's drawers and drop the deposits for the day manager to put in the bank. I've never
Though I'm
minded
never
much
working on the
having to
corner
do
store.
this job.
You got
The
me
past
all
5
type of
years
messed
working
up.
here has been on a
Y'all
night
better be
shift.
closing at 5.
Scariest ever happened.
At 5.
The only
Scratch
horrible
that at like
mystery of this
4:30 because it be getting dark at 5 sometimes.
Therefore, I've never had any reason to fear working after dark. It was until just recently when I became the
Y'all better
subject
have a
of someone's
freaking
obsession.
AR-15 and an AK behind
This,
the
in the
job.
first place, is very embarrassing for me.
I
I feel
better
like
have
when
a
people
big
hear
ass
about
drum
this,
on it.
they
I'm trying to
think I'm
crah.
nuts, but I swear I'm not. I recognize that I'm an average-looking woman, but that's as far as my vanity goes. I would have probably kept this incident to myself, but my therapist feels that sharing my experience will help other women, as well as myself. So, that's why we're here. Hopefully he's right, and this horrible ordeal really and serve to help other women who have suffered from the
God
same
damn,
form
all
of
the
negative
marbles.
attention. I've
Oh,
put
one
this off
fact.
for so long, I guess it's time to tell you exactly what it is that happened. As I said, I work the night shift 6 days a week. The number of weirdos I encounter is somewhat high. A fight once or twice a year, homeless drunks, the usual lot for a clerk in a convenience store in America. In spite of the craziness going on around me day to day, I would manage to go unnoticed by any of those weirdos until around 6 months ago. About that time, this particular man began coming to the store.
Boy, what's his name from
Initially, it
Tokyo
was
Ghoul?
only once or twice a week, and when he did, nothing was said to me. However, as time passed, his visits became more and more frequent. This, in itself, isn't that odd. Anybody who's worked in a convenience store for a length of time can tell you regulars go with the territory. Some you will see every day at the same time, some more than once.
That's just
About the time I
convenience
had
store.
my
That's
own
any store.
concern. Among
Any
his
store that
usual
have
routine,
needs.
I noticed that he would wait until I had no customers so I could ring him up. What made it so obvious was his concerted effort to start a discussion with me.
Whoa.
How about that weather? You know, small talk like that.
I'll use it as a pickup line.
Although I found it funny then, I didn't realize I was encouraging him by engaging in these discussions with him. Soon the talks became more personal, less banal discussions. The first time I was asked if I had a boyfriend, I laughed it off.
Yes.
The back and forth were the first indication to me that I may have a problem on my hands. My suspicions were cemented the day he asked me out. Perhaps from instinct, I said
You'd be
no,
like, yes.
but I was careful to be
Six,
kind in the way I
6'9",
said it.
basketball
At that
player
moment,
for the
this would take a while.
NCAA.
But
Also a
I
football
quickly
player for the
realized
NCAA.
that he was actually very angry. I guess I never really
Weighing
wanted to
about
read into it
240.
further. The next time he came in, he didn't talk to me, didn't return
Only
to me
2%
until
fat
2
on
days
him.
later, when he acted like nothing
Black
ever happened.
with dreads.
I had gotten the
Always
impression
wear a
that he
hood.
decided to let it go, but just one day later,
With some
he asked
Timberlands
me to
on.
meet him again. This time, he said he meant just as friends. As before, I declined. He made no effort to hide his anger this time, and the expression on his face as he stood there really frightened me. The week following this second incident, I spent most of my time hiding out in the office doing paperwork. A male clerk he had befriended told me he had asked about me, but the clerk only told him I was out. I took advantage of this friendship to ask the clerk to talk to the man. I wanted him to ask the guy to not come into the store
Boy,
when
she's
I was
looking
working
pissed.
anymore. His most recent behavior had scared me. The discussion must have happened because I didn't see him for several days. Curious as to what was said, I asked the clerk what reaction the man had. He only answered by saying that the guy had severe anger problems and I should probably watch my back. I'm not sure if the clerk thought that would make me feel better, but obviously it made me far more scared. He stayed away from the store during my shifts, and I didn't see him for a few
Fuck,
weeks.
only morning shifts now.
One day during shift change, I was talking to the day manager, and he mentioned a discussion that he had had with my stalker, as he called him. The manager had made the remark in passing that he didn't normally see him that time of the day. The guy told him he had stopped coming in on my shift because I thought I was too good for him. The manager said as he spoke, his eyes blazed with anger. I'd certainly dodged a bullet. At least that's what I thought then. In the coming weeks, I would catch glimpses of him walking through the parking lot. Sometimes he would stand at the edge of the lot just outside the glare of the lamp and watch me. The last time I caught him doing this, I called the cops.
Let y'all get a good look. Let y'all get. Look at that. Look at. What's up? What's up? Bow! No.
When they arrived, I explained the situation to them, but as you can imagine, they told me they couldn't do anything unless he blatantly threatened me. Of course,
That's some
by the time
bullshit.
they arrived, he was gone.
That's some
I'm not sure
bullshit.
if me calling the cops scared him or not, but I didn't see him for a while.
No, you probably just made him
Our
angry.
last meeting was less than an hour after close, about a month ago. I had just finished the deposits and was preparing to leave the store. As I walked out of the office, heading to the door, I noticed the shadow of a man standing out of the glare of the lamp, just as my stalker had done.
What's it?
Terrified,
What's it?
I called the cops hard
I know
way.
it's a controller because you
It
can't
was
put that on
mainly I was
YouTube.
going to leave the store
But
alone at 12:50 a.m. with him standing outside. They showed up in less than 5 minutes, but naturally, nobody left. I got the usual speech, but they were at least kind enough to volunteer to come around for the next week or two at closing and hang around until I could lock up and drive away.
I'm some good police
It
officers.
wasn't until 2 weeks later that I heard the news. While I was engaging in work talk with the male clerk, he mentioned that my stalker had ended his own life the week before. I didn't believe him, so we went into the office and he brought the man's obituary up on the computer. Shocked would be an understatement. I knew I hadn't seen him, but I assumed the police presence at close had scared him off. It took me a few minutes to gather myself. I wasn't sure how to feel about this. While he had clearly become a danger to me, I couldn't help but feel bad for him. He obviously had a major anger issue, but I had no idea how bad his life had been outside the store. I've always thought it was important to try and be empathetic towards others. On the other hand, the relief I felt and still feel often overrides any feelings of sadness or guilt I may have. I can only hope that he has found as much peace in taking his life as I have. God, I know that sounds terrible, but honestly,
No, that sounds
can you
about right.
blame me? Rest in peace, Robert. I do truly hope you have found the peace you so sorely needed. Recently, a terrible event occurred at the gas station my family owns, and considering the fact the victim was somebody close to the family, I thought this would be the best way for him to be remembered. However, the only way my dad would allow me to share this story is on the condition I didn't use the people's real names. So,
Since
anybody interested in
they're
looking
definitely
online for
get
more information surrounding this crime will
about
be
you wouldn't want
disappointed
nobody
because
using your name.
I'll have to change all the names. I guess I should start by giving you all some info on my family and our store. My dad bought it in 1996, a few years after his wife and he divorced. A few years later, he ran into our mom at the store. They had dated in high school, and she had just moved back after her husband died. They dated for a couple of months and then decided to get married. By March of 2000, my mom
Who
was
was
pregnant
that?
with my sister, and then me about 2 years after.
Ooh,
Most of our life has taken place in and around the store.
Suzanne, Suzanne. Let me be that man.
Women that work
Like
here.
Justin Bieber said, I
My
can
dad
be that
always said
one.
that the store itself was part of the
Mm.
family, and that includes everybody who works there. If that's true, Steve should have been the godfather of the family. He'd already been working at the store 10 years before Dad bought it, and he was the one that taught him how the place ran best. They became fast friends, and since he had no living family, he spent every holiday with us.
Mm.
Heck, they even hunted together. That's the reason his death in a holdup hit us so hard. The day after it happened, a call from the cops came into the store asking for the surveillance footage of the robbery. It didn't seem right for Dad or Amy, my sister, to compile it, so
Oh, her
I
name is Amy.
volunteered.
Oh.
I'll surely never volunteer.
Amy.
Going
You can
into
get
this
the
knowing what would happen made it
pause.
hard. I knew the others definitely couldn't handle it. I only knew the basics of the shooting, so
Amy,
I watched
come
the
rock
right
with
enter and approach the
me.
counter.
And the
A
all
sick
black
feeling
fit
was
like a
through me.
raider.
My instinct was to
I
yell
could
at the
be the
screen in
night
vain effort to
surveiller.
warn Steve, but the stupidity of doing that
Cap.
stopped me.
Not working in the
For the
course.
first minute they stood and talked. I couldn't hear about what because the camera had no audio. I was caught off guard when he pulled out the gun. It was so fast. Even without the sound, Steve's fear was plain. He did his best to keep the robber calm.
Stay.
Until Steve handed him the money from the register. The robber had chosen the time right before closing to come in. Unfortunately for him, Steve had just dropped most of the cash in a few minutes before, and what he was handed was no more than a $20 bill, a 5 and 5 ones.
It's not worth it to rob a
Must have
convenience
expected
store.
more. He began screaming, and Steve tried to calm him down. He must have known somehow.
It's not worth it
what was
to
about
rob
happen.
any store. Like,
His
you
expression was of down
probably
horror.
ain't getting more than what,
Right before the
100,000
shot
maybe.
came, he said something to the robber.
And that's depending
At
on what
first, I
type of store.
couldn't
If
tell
you're
what it
like
was, but
in
after
a
rewinding
small
the video a few
place,
times,
like a not a busy
his
town,
lips
you're
said,
probably gonna get like 5,000.
Please don't do it.
It's
You
not
don't
worth
have
it.
to. Those were his last words. 5 gunshots later, his life was over. The video ended with the shooter running out of the store. No one shows up on the screen again until about 1:17 a.m. when the officer stopped to see why the store was still open. He was the one who found Steve's body. When I was positive I had what they needed, I checked to make sure the clip had recorded to the thumb drive. Confident it had, I removed it and dropped it into a manila envelope and sealed it up. The teardrop hitting the envelope was the first hint to me that I'd been crying. I hadn't realized how important a part Steve played in my life. Just to make sure no one would bumble onto it, I locked the envelope in my desk drawer and called them to pick it up. I thought it may comfort you to know that the police know who the shooter is. It sounds like the guy couldn't stop complaining about how little he got, and somebody snitched him out. They haven't arrested him yet, but it's only a matter of time.
Like King Von said, I don't know why you told.
Be enough
But
to
it's
hang
really
him.
done a bit, man. I don't know
That's
how you
exactly
felt.
what they do to him. I know his execution won't bring Steve back, but the thought of that SOB dying, sure, feels good.
Mm. Well, that was it. None of them was really scary. The only one that I say that had give you like chills was the second one. And when he was standing from afar, that that gave chills right there. Yeah, gave chills right there. But yeah, none of them was really scary, so to speak. Yeah, yeah. Subscribe to Dark Ace Animation. We're probably gonna be watching some more. Of this. Let me check. Ouch. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all do it too. Y'all do it too. But till next time, deuces.